So, maybe
The hell
maybe
you
not
gotta
the
get in
fastest.
Spain, Pedro. Seriously, just because the server's in Spain, it's got to be in Mordor every time.
Yeah, there's like a volcano there or some shit.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Linux Gamecast Weekly, the show that covers the latest Linux gaming news, reviews, how-tos, and most importantly, whatever the hell else we come up with. I'm Old Man Ben, joined every week by the man in Canadian land shoveling driveways as one joins the swing, and the guy staying up late past his bedtime, hanging out with a box of donuts from Krispy Kreme, one Pedro Mateus, and together with you, Chat Room
not
Dynamic,
sponsored.
helping us form Toucan, Voltron, Cocaine, whatever. I don't know. That's horrifying. Don't do that without warning me, man.
grabby.
There was just too much skin, man. It was too much skin. What's new? What's going on? I was talking about this last night. Envy me. We were playing some Trackmania last night. You're going to come hang out with us, filthy.linuxgamecast.com. I'm getting that XKCD comic where I'm getting to play Metal Gear Revengeance for the first time. I've never got to play the game, so I'm getting like the primo experience, and it's all about nanomachines, so I'm having a fantastic time with that. But I hit that boss, the red guy with a magnet in his head. Neither of these yahoos have played the game, but if you know what I'm talking about, you're like, hockey stick difficulty curve, and you have to go to the internet. The internet's going to give you one of two options. The internet's going to say, get good scrub, or the internet's going to go, oh, yeah, that one, just maybe you can power your way through it, maybe not. We don't, there's no cheat sheet for it, which kind of sucks. Also, we were talking about Wayland, we were talking about X, and we were talking about Pipewire and the pre super shows, and go listen to that if you're a patron. That's an extra hour of content. I don't know who to blame. I'm not really blaming anybody, but I spent probably 15 minutes before the show, before I called these guys up, trying to figure out, Jordan, you're familiar with us creating virtual pulse audio syncs for your Jack clients.
Yes.
You're like, okay, so I need some inputs and some outputs, and we can wire that for our desktop audio. And I was like, why is my PACTL not working? I'm letting that Pipewire snuck back on the system during an update. Curse you, Debian 12 or Debian testing.
It is the default now.
It's snicky. It is. Like, why is this not everything? And it's one of those things like everything feels normal. And like, oh, okay. So then you run into like the obvious things. Like, okay. So I had to forcefully remove Pipewire and restart the system. And like, yay, we finally got that to work.
Yeah, if instead of removing it, you mask it in System D, that even if it updates, it just goes no.
And I apt mark hold.
So the thing in Fedora you can do is like when you swap Pulse Audio and Pipewire, it like leaves a mark in the RPM DB to be like, yeah, don't install any Pipewire stuff unless it's explicitly. So I'm surprised to hear like Debian doesn't have anything like that.
You got to fight with the back and forth. And like my first step for Debian now, because even on 11 it shipped with Pipewires, like Pipewire asterisk purge.
Mm-hmm.
What I want to know, which I should have paid attention to, is like what pulled it back in. Because normally I'm good with that. Like I don't want to fight with the After Effects if it is something else like needs lib Pipewire, which is fine to have installed in the system. And some things depend on lib Pipewire, but you can get rid of Pipewire. So welcome to Linux. Everything's perfect, kids. Another thing I noticed, you need. I would have lost this bet because we were talking about this in the pre-show too. The new AMD GPUs, the new NVIDIA, and the new ARC. Intel GPUs all support AV1 encoding.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are. I'm going to pretend I know what month. February. At the end of February.
Basically March.
Yeah. Practically December. And we still don't have AV1 encoding on Twitch. It's not available. Would have lost that bet, and I'm sure if you use Discord, come hang out in our Discord, super secret Discord, we got it available. Discord announced, you might have noticed if you logged in, hey, by the way, we support AV1 for video now. We beat Twitch. Twitch, what's going on, man? I need this reason, Twitch, because I desperately want to buy an A770 to play with, and that's one of the things that would not even justify it, but help me sleep a little better.
Sure.
But yeah, no, the Intel cards do, the new 7000 AMD cards do, the 4000 NVIDIA cards do. So yeah, Literally, what's the delay?
Well, I mean, I think maybe the delay is that no one is buying those new Intel or Nvidia cards and AMD cards, and people are kind of passing on those new Intel cards too, kind of. So
yeah, well, if you want a high-end card, you can't really go for the Intel ones, and the AMD and Nvidia cards are stupidly expensive.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the whole thing. I mean, Intel's kind of walked in with, it used to be even up to last generation, you'd buy the AMD card because it was that one you got to play with, and it would start doing new and exciting things each and every week, right? I need, I want some, I need one of those.
That's always been the big sell of AMD on Linux.
The AMD ones, right?
Or just the open source stack too. Like, I guess there were never really any exciting developments really happening on the Intel side until recently, right?
Like doubly so. Like not the open source stack with NVIDIA. Like each and every week, nope, doesn't work. Nope, still doesn't work. Nope,
hey,
doesn't work.
It's great now. NVIDIA drivers are open source, dude. What are you talking about?
I can get
the kernel modules.
It works.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about you mashing that refresh button, fam.
Yeah. I speaking of new video cards being very, very expensive, I decided, you know what, I'm going to stop waiting for one to come out, and I'm just going to buy something to make me happy so I can play my stupid DX12 video games. So I bought a Steam Deck. It's coming on Monday. I have the FedEx page open. I'm mashing refresh. Because, anyone who's waiting on a package knows, the more you mash refresh on the tracking number, the faster it will get there.
No, you got to mash refresh while you're on the toilet.
Yep.
In the shower.
The more of those chemicals hit the right receptors in your brain.
Yeah, listen, I am telepathically in contact with the FedEx driver right now. And I'm just like sending him hate rays, giving him a massive migraine that will release when he gives me my Steam Deck.
That's why you're going to have like a little door hanger at like from 6:01 a.m. Sorry, we missed you.
Yeah.
Yes. It couldn't be asked to ring you a little note. There you go.
No. You know what? I'm half expecting like to find a Steam Deck box with like the crumpled because he like whipped it at my door or something.
That is the thing, though. I mean, there was the announcement earlier today that our Steam Decks have been out for a full year.
Spoilers.
Today marks the day.
A year of deck.
Yeah.
Full year of deck, full year of Elden Ring, and another year, it's Nori's birthday. Thank you for reminding everyone in chat earlier, Jill. She actually enjoyed it very much, so thank you.
Gotta dox Pedro's partner, man. What's her mother's maiden name, by the way?
Uh-huh. You know that she was born on the 25th, that's it.
Well, the birthdays is like people dox themselves on that.
Yeah.
Literally every website that you register to.
That is that's been a habit with me since the 90s, man. I've never put my birthday accurately in anything. I mean, how long has it been? Like, let's see how far back it goes, right? Like, it's going to be from the 20s or the teens.
Yeah, I'm absolutely a 100-year-old man logged into this porn website.
1 full year of the deck, and I still have not found a reason to buy a Steam Deck because, well, here's the thing.
You don't play games on the toilet.
I've never been into portable gaming at all. Like, I had the original game. I had the DG one, that Game Boy. I had the TurboGrafx 16 portable. I had an Atari Lynx, but they were all curiosities. Like, you picked them up and you fucked with them for a minute. It wasn't something that ever would come with me. And I look at the deck, I'm like, well, what can I do with it that's not gaming?
Put it in the dock and use it as the desktop.
Yeah. You will need some docks and an extra keyboard and mouse to interact with it. I think you could use the touchscreen.
What I did, ladies and gentlemen, is I built our Steam Rectangle, the box that Jordan's currently on, which is a 5600G. So, I think I'm good. I got that instead of the Steam Deck.
Could also maybe do like the what was it, the framework laptop and just like pop the motherboard down.
Run it out to a display. Use the motherboard on something else.
Joe, I think I was like 8 at the time, so
he was working a full-time job,
cracking skulls.
In the mines. Listen,
the children crave the mines.
They're playing Minecraft these days. The children yearn for the mines.
Yeah.
Much like the horse.
The horse wants to be buried underground and given a proper rest, but we're gonna let it sit out in the sun a little bit more. Just like those tomatoes, it's the Steam Linux update.
Ladies and gentlemen, good news. Rarely get to say this, and I just straight up mean it. Cheaters will never be welcome in Dota. That's right. That is a ban hammer.
Oh, it's hammer.
Hammer time, man. Today we have permanently banned over 40,000 accounts that were trying to use, well, that were using third-party software in Dota to cheat over the last few weeks. They honeypotted this nonsense, and 40,000 seems like a lot until you look up, like, what was the 24-hour peak? Oh, 584,000. Okay, that's 14%. I guess not necessarily bad for a free-to-play game. This falls in the... It was kind of interesting how they did this, though.
Yeah.
Because they basically took a section of the game, re-engineered where like nothing would access this memory space, right? Mm-hmm. And they let it run like this long enough to
check what clients like actually check that region of memory.
Yeah, which ones were actively looking at that particular area.
And they found a few.
They found several. Yeah, so I mean, honeypots, they're classic blue team shenanigans. I'm very glad that this was able to be employed. Yeah, but
this extra chat that's on the video version. I'm like, why are you there?
It's all over my face.
Oh, there it is. Got it.
But yeah, no, I think now I think they've kind of the cat's out of the bag, right? Like you can maybe use this technique to catch some more people, but folks are going to be adjusting their exploits to be a little more selective about regions of memory that they scan. I guess this is where like stuff like ALSR or ASLR, whatever it's called, comes in handy, where you just like randomize the memory locations. So like shit actually has to scan everything, and thus it will trigger the honeypot.
No, it is, I can smell the salt because apparently 40,000 people or 40,000 accounts, probably a lot less people, but 40,000 accounts got banned. So there's definitely the taste of salt in the air. On the other hand, it's still Dota, and I still don't care. Yeah.
This anti-Dota sentiment. What is the Dota being free to play? I think I can speak for both of you. We've all played Dota when it came to Linux. I'm like, hey, let's do it. Let's run around, do a tutorial mission. I'm like, I'm good. I'm out. Bye.
Yeah, I finished the tutorial. I was like, that's good. Peace.
I didn't, because I had played League of Legends and Heroes of New Earth previously, and I'm like, yeah, I don't like these games. So
I played the Heroes of New Earth. What is the advantage? This is just pure ignorance on my part. Where is the financial incentive to cheat in a free-to-play Dota game?
There are ladders, there are ranked matches. I guess like the same reason anyone cheats, right? Is they
feel better about themselves.
Yeah, feel better about themselves.
Lord,
I know there's skins and there's some like itemization stuff. I don't know specifically about Dota. Dota 2 what they offer, but a lot of it is just cosmetic, or like what it will be is like you get a random pool of heroes every week, and if you like one and you want a main one, you have to like buy that specific.
Can I get like a swimming pool of heroes and like remove the ladder?
I mean, that's auto chess.
Or the original Sims. Because they would drown.
Yeah.
Land time. Meet space when you're hanging out.
From Sandy. Stuff.
And Sandy did write in. He's like, yo, there's a pretty cool piece of kit. And, we've talked about it because, hey, there's a thing called Steam Cafe. And it's not as odd as you think. It's not a Starbucks, but Steam's got like a whole licensing system where you can set up a Steam server and it's got a bunch of games in it to go out through your clients. Well, Gardner wrote an article about Steam LAN transfer, and it's in beta. If you have the beta client, you can get it, go to downloads, game file transfers over a local network. It's now a thing. You can play around with it. You can click and do things. And I decided to take a Pepsi challenge with this guy. And installing Trackmania on the Rectangle from Threadbooper, using Threadbooper as a source. There's a couple options in the download thing. I selected just to and from any. I didn't want anything getting in the way. It was peaking at around 150 megabytes a second on my 10 gig fiber network, like we all have at home. So I think this could be handy.
What's the saturation on that? Because I don't want to do math right now.
150 megabytes, nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, 1 gigabit is 125 megabytes per second.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm not going to do math on stream. I'm going to let you guys do that.
Yeah, like it'll handily write a gigabyte a second if the drives can keep up with about to a little bit right there. Here's the thing, though. Because you're like, why would you use this, right? Because both of you are, it's like, hey, I can download. All right, what were your speeds?
I suppose I'll go first. On my end, I uninstalled Elden Ring on the deck, and then I just installed it again, and it started pulling at about 71 megabytes per second, according to the network monitor, which is like 70.
Do you have like, what did you get, like the Steam Dork? Are you sure it's
no,
Steam
it's whatever the KD task manager defaults to showing. It's about 75 megabytes per second, give or take.
It's like base 10 versus base 2 measurement. I didn't actually test it out. I know based on what Gardner was saying, he was getting about 36 megs on Windows. So I was curious, like, does it like do a line sample and say like, I'm only going to consume X amount of your total network byte?
I was just looking at like what it said in the Steam download client.
Yeah.
What was your peak?
It peaked at 75 megabytes per second.
Maybe bytes.
Megabytes.
No, megabytes, 71 megabytes, 75 megabytes. There's a difference.
Maybe bytes. But
yeah,
so
no, actual downloads, if I'm just downloading a game to the SSD on the deck, I get 80 to 90 megabytes per second usually, unless it's one of those that's being hosted in Mordor.
yeah, like, so, you know, maybe
The hell
maybe
you
not
gotta
the
get in
fastest.
Spain, Pedro. Seriously, just because the server's in Spain, it's got to be in Mordor every time.
Yeah, there's like a volcano there or some shit.
That's where
Some
people go to
moody
die.
elf pining for Galadriel's like, be my girlfriend, Galadriel, and she's like, no, next season. That's cool though. It's nice to have this option. I guess I'm gonna definitely try it out over on the deck. I guess the other thing too is Gardner said he was trying it over a Type-C dock, not just over Wi-Fi. So
Okay.
Yeah, the Type-C, I tried it with my Type-C dock. It has a gigabit line going to it from it to the router. And yeah, no, it's faster to download the games from the internet, which is weird.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, even if you're going over the dock, or maybe you're going over, I come from time. I'm still perplexed and amazed that Wi-Fi just works. That's all I expect from Wi-Fi. Like, is it working? Okay, good. I'm not a person who's like, how fast is like, just work? I'm fine. So, like, whatever. I think this gets really handy and a lot more interesting when you're at a LAN party.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
One thing though that kind of strikes that is you got to have someone coming to that LAN party with a PC because you can't do deck to other Steam client. That's the one limitation.
If you
here.
bring your Steam Deck to a LAN party, I'm going to make you serve drinks at night.
Dude, that's what most people are doing with it now. I don't know why you got to be a hater, man.
Now that you mention it, there's one possibility. You drop into the desktop session and you just run Steam on the desktop session. I forgot to test that.
Now I'm managing the guy who shows up for the LAN party for the Steam Deck, and he's like, I got my Steam Deck and my monitor and my mouse and my keyboard and my wireless adapter.
Don't bring an entire fucking tower. Just bring a Steam Deck.
And then the guy's like, gaming laptop, just drops it right there. He's like, cute toy, bro.
Yeah, I mean, you're still going to be running it at 800p anyways, so it's fine. At the end of the day, you get a little more comfy ergonomics. But you know what? Maybe you need to buy some games for that LAN party. Well, there are some sales coming up. Valve has come out with the upcoming list of sales. We were asking the other day, like, how often is this Steam Next Fest supposed to be happening? Now we have an answer. It's happening 3 times a year. The next one is going to be in June. But the coming up sales are going to be the Steam Mystery Fest, the Spring Sale, the Puzzle Fest, and the Sports Ball Fest. I look forward to seeing all 3 sports games on Linux go on sale for an appreciable amount. But yeah, here's the calendar in case you are wondering when you need to save your money to spend it on cheap games.
Yeah, I very much look forward to whichever sale brings the original Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance games for the PS2 down to like £15 or lower than that, because 30 is a bit much for a PS2 game.
Remember when those games were good? Remember when Dark Alliance, we were like excited when a Dark Alliance game came out? I guess both times. But,
PS2, yeah.
I wonder if they're still working on that. Like, has there been any updates to it?
On like the new Dark Alliance?
I've had it installed this whole time, and the only updates I get are the shaders. So
I got they added like that DLC character, that Warlock, but I think that was it. Like the game still plays the exact same.
Well, that was like the last time I like logged into it and like, hey, we're going to do some work on it. And but that's what I wanted to check the news. They've done March of last year.
Yeah, it's almost a year at this point. This is a big no. That's a solid. But yeah, no, the original games, the original ones, I really want to play.
I really wanted to get in like a workable state because they were doing patches on the reg, like trying to get it up and working, and like I want it to not suck as bad as it does. But hey, pipe dreams.
Wizards stopped sending them money, and thus the development train stopped.
Oh.
But yeah, we have ChimeraOS. We've been covering them since they were called GamerOS, which
It's not Arch, Pedro.
I made the joke that it's totally just Arch with a custom name, and I contracted the name to be Gamerous, and they were very quick to correct us, but now it's called ChimeraOS, and version 39 is out. The big one here is that it comes with the new deck UI by default.
So maybe don't install that on your NVIDIA box until they sort out the deck UI performance.
It does come with the new NVIDIA drivers, but the gamepad UI, as it's called, is still very, very choppy on the NVIDIAs, so keep that in mind. But if you have an Intel card or an AMD GPU, you can go ahead and give it a try. I haven't installed this version. I have one of the laptops has one of the older versions installed still, so I need to update it.
Somebody's got a bunch of things in all caps. You know what I want to do? I want to do the opposite of what it tells me to. Well, I'm not smart.
Okay, then you're building the ISO from source. Go nuts. But yeah, it is. It has support for the Nintendo DS now, and all of the system updates are actually integrated with the UI that Steam offers with the new big picture mode. So yeah, the screenshots still show the old one.
Yeah, that's out of date.
They haven't updated that.
All right. Here's one of my crazy ideas. One of the reasons I built the Steam Rectangle instead of buying a Steam Deck is maybe I'll do a live stream and install this and see what it's actually like. Get a hands-on experience with it.
Yeah, what's the other one? Holo ISO.
Holo ISO is the SteamOS 3 repackage. That
this one
like
has a lot
scratch.
more functionality. Namely, it has a little web server that it runs. Then you on your phone or on a different computer, you can upload ROMs from the web browser to whatever computer is running that. You can set up a bunch of other things directly from the web browser instead of having to SSH onto that machine. Can you run it
on your Steam Deck though? Do we have any user reports of people running ChimeraOS?
No.
On their Steam
well,
Decks?
I mean,
some people tried to with the original one, but sound wasn't working.
Maybe we could find out. Yeah, this is the whole thing. I could do that, and we could do that. Pedro, you could join in while I'm doing the live stream, and you can sit quietly in the little box in the upper hand corner eating Krispy Kreme donuts while playing God Save the Queen on a kazoo backwards.
And just spitting sugary bits everywhere.
Yeah.
That is one gunky kazoo.
we're going to use disposable kazoos.
What was the shit about you caring about the environment now? Now we're just going to throw out our kazoos.
They're biodegradable, bitch.
All right, well, you got me there.
Trees.
Technically.
Let's talk about some new games that don't grow on the donut tree.
That donut tree. Let's talk about Joon. Is it Shining? Shitting?
Yeah.
The Shinin.
I wanted to be shitting, man. Because, listen, man, that protagonist looks like somebody kick you in the shins, doesn't it? And laugh at you. Like, oh, man.
It's a purple wizard. That's all it is.
You could just say wizard. They all dressed in purple.
Right.
Except for those other kinds of wizards, but we don't talk about.
Imagine if Hollow Knight was roller derby. That would be our mascot. Right. So golf, puzzle platformer, 2D, puzzle, Orchid of Redemption, Lamplight Forest. These are all words that are on the store page. There is a demo, though. So you can download Joon. Shining and play it yourself, unless you're running Debian 11 with NVIDIA with the latest drivers, because this bitch don't fucking start. Not even a little bit. It just sits there. How about you, Pedro? Did you try?
Admittedly, I was just curious because I saw this on release day. I was like, oh, that looks like a game. And it's, how do they say it? It's like puzzle platformer with golf mechanics.
No, thank you. No. Hard pass. Hard
yeah,
pass.
it looks like mini golf puzzle platforming effectively. So with a purple wizard.
Then I was like, well, what do the people say about this? Where you can use magic. Minimum requires a processor.
No. Well, you have RAM installed. There's your problem.
Yeah, it was the NVMe's that threw it off. The video card just like threw it for a loop. I was like, I wasn't expecting this.
CPU only. Software rendering.
There are 3 user reviews, and they're all products received for free. And they're all 4 positive. 5. Oh, look, free. Oh, more free positive. Okay.
Those are all early access reviews.
The hits keep on.
No, there's one. There's one.
Yeah, that one wasn't reported as being received for free.
That person didn't click the right button.
No, you read the first line. I got this game to try it out.
From a stream that I often watch. Yeah, you're going to try to convince me somebody was actually streaming this. Get out of here.
The developer, yeah. On Steam.
Really interesting golf type game, Tilda.
From Flautist Acacia.
I don't know. I have my doubts, lads. There is a demo. Go download the demo, see if you can get it to run, and report back. Leave us some feedback. It'd be interesting to see your experience with the Joons.
Now, the one that actually caught my eye that came out this week was Evil Below, TM. That's how they called it. And they describe it as you taking the role of a mother searching for her child. And you look at the video, the first trailer that they have. They have a bunch of
looks
trailers
like I'm about to hack up somebody with a bucket on his head.
And you look at like the artsy trailer that they have going on. It's like, I wouldn't have got that story at all from what you're showing me. But
I don't know, man.
Okay,
I could probably suss
fair
that
enough.
out.
So I did what I do whenever I see a game that looks even remotely interesting, and this one passed the bar. And I went looking for the developer's email address, Fire Raven Studios. And I found their YouTube channel because their website had a bat cert. And once you...
A bat cert? No.
Sure, let's go with bat cert. It had a bat certificate. And when you actually clicked past the bat certificate, the website just came back with a misconfigured error. So...
Imagine if Dark Souls had a revolver in it.
Yes. Well, there is a game, Chronos Beyond the Ashes. I probably...
Bloodborne as Dark Souls with a gun. I don't know. I get more like Resident Evil 8 Villagey vibes from it. At least from like the first person horror.
Though. This is all right. Huh. Yeah. What
there's like 2 user reviews. One is in Chinese and is very confused.
Oh, did we gotta deal like parents and shit? Like,
yeah, you are playing as the mother according to the description. Mama. So yeah,
your baby disappears,
and that kid was not wearing a seatbelt. So that's cool.
So yeah, it takes place in the 50s before they invented them. Yeah, the one review in English said that the combat was pretty bland and that the controls were floaty. So I don't know. This came to us from PlayStation. Apparently, they got out of their exclusivity arrangement, and now they can throw it up on the Steam. I don't know.
I shot them an email, and when I was looking at their YouTube channel, it's like, oh, they're based in Portugal. All right, okay, I'm curious now.
It's
but
Tommy
they haven't
Wiseau.
replied to my email.
And then they had bat certificates. You're like, oh man.
Yes.
See, I want there was this like really Terabad. It might have been a PlayStation game for all I know. I'm sure it was a console game that was done on console 20 years ago. But one of the you had the short and stuff, but you had a revolver that was just infinitely overpowered that you started off with to reflect like, yeah, you know what? You know how short most fantasy anythings would be if somebody just had a gun? It's like, oh, do you want to attack this thing with a sword for half an hour, or do you just want to shoot it once?
No.
The whole Indiana Jones bit that dude's doing like the flourishing bits with the scimitar. It just pulls it in.
My favorite part about that entire thing was there was actually supposed to be a sword fight, but Harrison Ford wasn't having it that day.
The only way
So
we were
we
going to be
pulled
able to, it was something messed up in the schedule. Like the only way we were going to be able to get this done, and somebody said it as a wisecrack, is like if Indy just shoots him, they're like,
and he did it. Yeah. Great stuff. We got one game update, and it's from a game I don't think any of us expected to hear anything from. Jackbox Party Pack 2. The second one came out.
Wait a minute, is this marketing? Because we played that in the after shows last week.
We do. It's
someone might have been paying attention.
Skipped right the fuck over this game.
But yeah, this is the one that came out in 2015, and they're talking about the Bomb Corp, and I think we played it one or two times because it took me a while to like remember what the fuck was going on, and yeah, it was pretty unforgiving. It was way too fucking hard. And so this update, taking some feedback from people, are like, yeah, no one's playing this game because you can't actually win it. So they added some easy mode options, like having a retry for some of the puzzles and longer timers on the earlier bombs. So, you know, it's good to see they're accepting feedback. They're patching shit. You know, wasn't expecting that from a game from 2015.
Right? So, 8-year-old game? You're like, huh.
Especially because, like, basically, like, what, every 8 months there's a new Jackbox that's come out. So, like, they're churning them out. So.
Usually, like, somewhere in that. And this was, like, a very weird one because I just had installed this last week for the after show. If you stick around, you watch us live, we always get together in the after show and we play games with the audience. And that was kind of weird in the middle of the week. I'm like, and I thought it was like a shader update or something. I'm like, no, it was a substantial update. I'm like, what? All right. Maybe we'll play that.
Yeah. So
I think we played that once and it didn't.
Once or twice because we were trying to figure out what the actual rules are, and then we're just like, no, fuck this, we're gonna play Fibbage. So
yeah, there's like a solid 40% of Jackbox games that are just like been played once. We're like, no.
Let's do T-Fury. That's the one we know.
T-Fury, the Quips one.
Bracketeering's Fibbage. Another one.
Bracketeering, yeah.
The rest of this segment is just going to be us reminiscing about our favorite Jackbox games. Yeah. Coming up next, got milk? Well, if you have an AMD card, you're gonna.
Right, the news are coming up. Never mind the shenanigans we got to in between segments. You should watch us live. You absolutely should. But the news are coming, but as we usually do, we put the brakes on.
What's the red cable do?
That charges my phone. It's a Type-C cable. That's all it is. It's just there. I usually hide it, but I forgot to.
I don't know. I thought maybe it was
hide
like the
your
bat
cable
phone.
Shame.
You know? We got BAT-ENS. All right.
It's just a Type-C cable that I used to charge my phone. That's it.
If they remade the Bill Dozier Batman, would like the Bat phone just be an iPhone now that just sits on the mayor's desk?
Oh, would it be like an iPhone 1 though?
Oh yeah, it's just an app. They just unlock the phone, and there's an app, and they tap on it.
I mean that's the plot of Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Here's the problem though, man. Did you watch the Flash trailer?
Maybe, yeah, I think so.
With Batman?
Yeah, it had Batman at the very end. Yeah,
it's Keaton.
Yeah,
I'm like, well, gotta watch that now. Because I want my old man Batman.
yeah. The appearance of what's his name? Fucking animated Batman. I'm spacing on the name. Conroy in Crisis on Infinite Earths, the CW one, was very disappointing. It was like there for 2 seconds and then they killed him off. Anyways, patreon.com/LinuxGamecast. We are so fucking sidetracked. What are we here to do? We're here to talk about Linux games. You want to support us? Head there, give us some money, get into our Discord channel, which you can also get into by subbing to us on Twitch, twitch.tv/LinuxGamecast. That's what Don M did for 28 months. Good for him. But yeah, get into our Discord channel. You can RSVP to game streams. I do Borderlands on Thursdays. Ven does Trackmania on Tuesdays and Fridays. So if you want to join in on the what can be questionably described as fun, you can get in and RSVP. We got
ModV all the way down, baby.
Indeed. We got a store as well, store.linuxgamecast.com. You can buy some filthy LGC merch or a coffee cup that you can just fill with dirt and then drink, or mayonnaise and drink, because be a crazy person, be ungovernable.
You better stir that mayonnaise before you drink it.
You gotta microwave it first, that way it gets all nice and runny.
Fucking kids, man, sun-based.
No, just boil it in the kettle. That's how the Brits did it back in the day. Yeah, we got wish zones as well. LinuxGameCast.com. Put your mouse over the support button. I have
How long
one.
do you think it would take to bake a jar of mayo before it explodes?
I mean, if you get the oven hot enough, it'll explode pretty quickly.
Not very.
Yeah. Wish zones. I have one. Ven has one. Jill has one. Pedro has one. Most of them don't have mayonnaise on them, but they might if you check later in the week. And then we'll put it.
Yeah, I like mayo, so I might.
We will put it in our ovens, stick a camera in front of it, and let you just watch our houses burn down.
So if I took a toaster oven and a webcam and some long USB cables,
yeah. On the and a bathtub to the roof of your house. See how well that goes?
No, what we need to do is set up a thing for bits. So one bit is like
like increase
bits, like one notch
to the next notch.
It goes up or down.
Yeah. And then or just have it like drop a penny into a thing and it just like counterweights it as it just tips and tips and tips and tips and tips. Okay, let's get into the news. Milk.
Thank you for your support. Coming out with us. We do a bunch of things, even in the after show, if you get a chance to watch us live and access to our show notes, all the fun stuff. But you get a bonus episode each and every week. Behind the scenes, all the stuff that's going on, and usually it turns into like movies and television to film reviews called the Pre Super Chosen. These guys are on it.
Thank you, Dancing Joe, for the sub. Yeah. You just did that.
Giving us those Bezos bucks, baby. And there we go. I just keep forgetting to plug that. You get your custom RSS feed with the extra live and uncut versions of these shows each and every week.
You can watch those on YouTube as well. We got a live and uncut channel. You should go check that out.
And you can get to that by going to our regular YouTube channel.
And clicking on channels.
And going down to the bottom, or about, or something.
It's
So, let's talk about Raised by Wolves and how milk in computers. It's a match made in heaven.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take a moment to speak to you about LACT.
Because that's what they called it.
Calcium.
The Linux AMD GPU control application. You weirdos. It is an application that allows you to, you'll never guess, control your AMD GPU on Linux, GPU info, overclocking, fan control, viewing information about your everything yet you've ever wanted. And of course, it's available in the R. Yeah. But don't worry. Debian and Ubuntu derivatives, you can download a deb package. It's only available on Debian 12 Plus and Ubuntu 22.04. Why? GTK4, baby. Of course, you can always build it from the source. But let me just start off with my man putting screenshots on his GitHub page. Like an absolute boss. This is, love to see it. Love to see it. Makes me so happy. Nothing anybody hates more than a GUI application. Like, yeah, install it. See what it looks like, fucko. Now, voltage control, which is pretty neat. This has got voltage control for new AMD GPUs and Pedro will tell you advanced, not dumb, fan curve configuration.
Yeah,
but advanced
proper fan curve configuration. And you can get as granular as you want because you can just add extra levels. So you can set that curve exactly down to how you want it. And it works. It works really well. You just hit that plus button that it has and it adds another one, and then you can edit the values as to the temperature that it kicks the fan onto that percentage.
The Mermels.
It's well done. It's very well done.
So Jordan, what do you think? Holding the proud, time-honored tradition of poorly named open source projects, what could possibly go wrong being called LACT?
Nothing, man. You really just gotta milk the names for all they're worth. It's a very good idea.
I mean, it's no jump.
No, it's no jump. But that's the Jim from Guitar Center. The Jim from Guitar Center image manipulation project. It's basically you go to Jim and he draws you a picture. Jim.
Jim's pretty tight, son.
I need you to Jim something for me. Fuck you.
That's pretty cool. Here's something I want though, man. Add the ability to apply brightness, contrast, color correction, all the other stuff that you can normally do with any NVIDIA card made in the last 20 years under Linux. Then you got something a little special. Then you got something that nobody else has.
Come on, put in a feature request.
Oh, I don't care.
Get milky.
I'm saying I feel bad because like, okay, even like you get a deal with like Wayland, because I hadn't messed with AMD on Linux since ATI on Linux until I got the 5600Gs. It boggles my mind how you barbarians live without having color correction brightness and color profiles and all that like built into the control center. Then I'm like, oh right, AMD would have to do that with the drivers, and AMD doesn't really like Linux.
Thankfully, with the open source drivers, you can just use the native desktop environment ones that you're given with, at least with the GNOME and KDE. You have like gamma curves and color profiles if you want to set them up.
You gotta run that shit in Wine though.
No, it's native to the desktop environment.
Yeah, now you got to run the desktop environment Wine, Pedro.
Yeah.
Well, you can technically install the KDE version for Windows in Wine.
You know, someone's, Linus Tech Tips was doing like a week on Linux. I want to see like a week on like running the Windows version of KDE with the WSL with X forwarding. Just try and get like running as close to Linux on Windows as possible.
Oh man, yeah, we do like the Windows 11 challenge, and it's just straight WSL from day one, just stacking shit on top of that.
Yeah, just see how far you can go. But maybe you don't want to use Windows. Maybe you want to stick on Linux. You want something like Bottles. Bottles, it's a wine prefix manager. We've talked about it a bunch. It's pretty cool if you just need to run a bunch of applications in Wine and manage all the various bottles. They have a new release out, Bottles 5.10. Nothing too exciting in this release. A lot of it is just like cleanup, bug fixes. There's some changes to their issue management stuff and build automation. But, it's good to see that they're filing off all the rough edges, right? Not every release needs to be new sexy features. Just making it a little bit more usable is always good, especially for something that like Bottles, where you kind of just want it to get out of your way and let you run your freaking program.
And it's got pictures of bottles.
I mean, what doesn't?
It does have screenshots of the UI as well, so.
I mean, that it would be confusing if it didn't have bottles, would it? I mean, every time I open this, I can look at that and be like, fuck yes, bottles.
Yeah. Bubbles!
I fucking love bottles.
I mean, it could be your thing. It's available as a flat pack, so Jordan likes it.
That's me. I love everything that comes in a flat pack.
It is officially, the official distribution method is as a flat pack, but you can build it from sauce if you like. But they are very much just like, the base thing is a flat pack, and then each bottle you create is its own thing. It's not directly tied to the flat pack. So,
well, I like the idea of having like a bottle in a container. I mean, it's meta.
Yeah, you can have an app image in
I mean, you gotta Dockerize the entire thing too, and then stick that Docker container in a virtual machine.
Can we put
and
that
then
on
you publish the
CD?
virtual machine. Yeah, on a live CD. That you can only run in DOS.
You get the ISO, and then you get WSL on Windows to mount the ISO.
No, but then it's only accessible via like Steam Remote Play. Yes. So you actually have to get it over the network via streaming. It goes
security
all the way
first
down.
here at Linux Gamecast.
Yeah, so we take security through obscurity very, very seriously.
We take it to a new level. You got like obscurity. No, we got obscurity through. Fuck this.
Security through. Are these guys smoking crack? I don't want to smoke crack. I'm just gonna stop. But you might. You could smoke crack.
You ever got an alligator hive, Pedro?
No.
How about?
I can't say that I have. No, I've played a lot of croc in my life, but I've never gotten alligators pie.
Well, are you a croc Legend of the Gobos diehard? I have vague croc related memories from my childhood, from like various magazine ads and commercials. But croc. It was an early 3D platformer for the PlayStation and the Sega Saturn, not the Sega. It's like the Nintendo. Just the one. So Foon Tuning from Google. They got their hands on the Argonaut game's blazing render engine and threw it up on GitHub under an MIT license. An anonymous person donated it to them. So it's online. And now this other person, CrocDE, they have gone and actually ported this to other operating systems and modern platforms. So now we can get this stuff running on modern systems and use things that weren't supported back in the day, like analog sticks. Because this was the early days of the PlayStation. When your DualShock, you didn't have the DualShock. It was just the PlayStation controller that looked like
D-pad
a
only,
messed up,
baby.
yeah,
All the way.
looked like a messed up SNES controller. Everyone's like, "What the hell is this?" And then they added some analog sticks, and they're like, "Beautiful, never change."
And Rumble.
I'm sorry, I laughs at N64.
No, you need, man. Have you seen the original PlayStation 3 controller? That shit was like a batarang from like the 1960s Batman. Like,
yeah, the long one, and there was also the big round one that looked like the weird one that Sega released for the Sega Saturn. That one they actually released.
Man,
that also had an analog stick.
the Dreamcast controller was also like a really weird handholdy experience.
Yeah, it had the little slot for you to put the VMU.
Yeah.
That was a weird one.
Yeah. But no, the back to Croc. That was the version of Croc. That is the version of Croc that I've been playing. I'm almost at the end. I'm technically on the last island, so that's I can finally, probably if I can be asked to finish it, actually get through the final bits, because I couldn't on the Saturn because I had a PAL Saturn because I was in Portugal at the time, and that game did not like PAL Saturns at all. Just seriously, look it up. So yeah, no, SDL, whatever controller SDL recognizes, you can throw it at it and it will work. It's very good.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. Oh man. If you do want to play Croc though, you are going to need the original game. This is just an engine re-implementation. It does not come with any of the game assets.
Technically, the one on that website is complete. You could just download it. Like,
yeah, which brings me to they probably need to work out a better distribution model.
Yeah,
a
little bit.
It's about 170 megabytes.
I don't think Argonaut Games is coming after anyone though, considering they don't exist anymore.
Yeah,
probably
they
not.
don't.
Probably not. They're probably safe, but you don't want your like week to get fucked up on a technicality, right?
Oh yeah, no. SCO bottom out.
Here's the thing: put that shit on archive.org.
Yeah, put it on archive. It's for preservation, you guys.
Yes.
Civilization is a game I've never played, except that one time I looked at it and I'm like, no. I value my time too much. However, you might, they keep making them, right? They make more than one. But the first one seems to be really important. And I happen to be reading over at Civ Fanatics, because that's a subreddit for people who really, like, they get up in the morning and like, what are you doing? Playing Civilization. Anything else? Nope. Somebody, I didn't know the lore and the history, or the issues, I guess I should say, with Civ. And apparently, this was an interesting little read, and like doing a little bit of history. Nobody's ever made a proper, full-on Civilization clone. Like, they made, Civ 2 had like Civ 1 rule sets, but it didn't look the same, and things didn't operate.
Free Civ.
Yeah. So, heading over to Civilization's Fanatics Center, which is also a real place, I'm not making these up, and Dom 111 is just working on it, man. He's like, yeah, I want to take a crack at this. I know that people have tried it and they failed and abandoned projects, but here it is. There it is. And I just wanted to give this a mention because he's doing it. It's open source. And Jordan, you can play this thing on anything, right?
Yeah, it's done in TypeScript. I found the link to the GitHub. It's in our show notes. You can go click on it. And yeah, they have a version that's hosted on GitHub. You can just play it in the browser. So yeah, you can run it everywhere where you have browser support. So that's always cool, especially for like these older game engine re-implementations. It's good to see that you can just like run them, because you can basically run them in a browser. It's not like they're very complex pieces of software these days.
That's very good, even though Civ is another one of those games that I will never get into. But preservation is very important, and with the original Civ being one of those games that you can't really run on a modern operating system, no matter how many versions of wine you throw at it, it's good to see. It's very good to see.
Yeah, the dude says that this is not done and is not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it is open source. So if you are a Civ 1 fan and you want to help on improving it, or you're just looking for something to hack on, give it a look.
Speaking of things you might want to hack on, game controllers.
Yes,
because apparently one of us,
ones of all things.
Jordan, how many game controllers do you own total?
1, 2, 3, 4...
Total, like even in the house.
Yeah. These, I'm just accounting for the ones here. I don't know, a dozen
5.
maybe.
Okay. How many you got, Pedro? On your desk.
On my desk, I have 7. I have another 3 in a drawer there, so 10.
Your Honor, what I'm attempting to establish is Pedro knows a little bit about controllers. By osmosis.
I've gone through a few.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, this one is particularly special. You may have seen if you were paying attention to the announcements on Discord or on Twitter, what have yous. The review for the Alpakka is now up. Big thank you to Jordan for correcting my English, and a big thank you to Ven for making my video watchable. That's very, very nice.
I like the challenge. And Pedro, you were kind enough to give me 15 minutes of additional footage.
Mm-hmm. You basically cut the amount of footage that I gave you in half, so that's very good. But yeah, no, it's the Alpakka. It's a completely open source and Creative Commons controller that you can put together on your own, and you can only put it together by yourself or find someone who has a 3D printer and the ability
to put this together with a friend.
You can.
I'm going to make it out of a friend. I'm going to carve his flesh and bones.
As long as they have a way to print a PCB and get all the necessary bits soldered on, that's also a bit of a concern. But yeah, it is as open as you can make a controller nowadays with the current landscape. And it's a very, very good start because, yes, it is still, as I said in the review, a working prototype type of situation. But it is fully functional, and it has more functionality currently than literally most of the budget entry-level controllers that you can buy. It has currently 8 built-in profiles that you can have, and they're going to have more. So you can.
I thought you were going to go a different place with this when you say can't play games. I thought you were going to see how many games you could get running on.
The Pi Pico, yes.
Yeah. No. You stick the controller in front of another controller, and you say, "Play the game. Go play the game."
Yeah, play with yourselves. But yeah, no, it uses the Pi Pico as the big brains, which, as I alluded to in the video, it's not a Type-C connector. It's still a micro USB. Some people might prefer that. I would rather it have been a Type-C, but hey, it's a Pi Pico, so that's what you get. The other thing is that you're kind of limited to about 250 hertz-ish. Yeah. You're limited to 250 hertz for the polling rate, because that is the polling rate of the Pi Pico as well. So it's not the best, but it is, as gyro implementations go, just by the fact that it has 2, the most accurate gyro implementation on a controller currently. Unless you want to talk about Steam Decks. That's a whole different thing. But yeah, it does what it says on the tin, and yeah, the big difficulty is you have to DIY it from the ground up.
the one thing I've just been dying to ask, how does, with the scroll wheel, does that affect the gameplay at all? Cycling through weapons or whatever the shit you use scroll wheels for normally, zooming in for scopes.
Yeah, if you're playing a game that requires you to use the scroll wheel to zoom in and zoom out of things or to change weapons or whatnot.
But is that intuitive? Does that actually work as someone who's using a controller?
For me, no, because it's on the right side and I tend to limit the motions on the right side. But from what I've seen on their Discord server, for a lot of people, yes, it is. They very much like the scroll wheel.
Pedro.
And yeah,
they're making an eggplant, Pedro.
It's not an eggplant. That's a capybara. That's a one-handed controller that they're doing.
I thought that was an emoji implying that you wanted to have sex with me.
Nope. Eggplant. 100%.
It'll probably be shaped so that you could stick it up your ass. Not necessarily recommended.
Oh, so that's why they're calling it Alpakka? I'll pack it up your butt?
It's in a conceptual phase, gentlemen.
This is the Alpakka.
It's a one-handed controller, which I'm like, yo, can you scroll through your browser tabs with a one-handed controller? Just ask for a friend.
If they give you the same profile switching that you get with the Alpakka, or something that just emulates a mouse and keyboard, probably, yeah.
All right, well, naughty times abound. I guess that does it for the news segment. Coming up next, Time to put a bucket on our head and wiggle some brooms at stuff. It's time for me to sweep my office. Oh, hello. Nice to meet you. It's time for the Chairquisition, where we take a game, run it on a bunch of different Linuxes, and give you a highly clunky score. It's not very good. One lawn chair means that's great, or it's not great. 4 lawn chairs means that it's fucking amazing. We're getting into it. We're throwing chairs at Clunky Hero today, done by Chaos Monger Studios. Done on the Unity engine. You could pick it up for about $15 US. What is it? A crazy platformer with a touch of RPG and tons of quirky but challenging things. Lovely hand-drawn looking graphics for a world crowded with funny creatures and bizarre weapons. Join Rufus, the anti-hero with a broom and bucket, on his absurd journey. Gotta thank Chaos Monger Studios for sending us some keys. And let's get into it. Pedro, how's it work on the Steam Deck?
It worked out of the box on the Steam Deck, and it even if you put it on the fantastic preset, it holds 60, so very good. It's a Unity game, so you expect it to be. Although on the desktop, the Unity game does not like to hold 144 while OBS is recording. That's it's not the first game to do that, but it seems to suffer from that particular ailment. There's technically voice acting, I suppose. It's like solid mumbo jumbo, but it is there, and 2.5D graphics. They're very clearly 3D, but you only play in 2D because platformer. But yeah, I may be exaggerating that a little bit, but it is what it is. As for the fun, it could be fun. To say it's kind of not. Enemies respawn when you reload the game, or you simply exit out and come back in, but your health does not refill. And if we get to that point in the video, you will see me saving the game while I'm at 8 HP and dying like 3 or 4 times because I saved the game and then the game respawned all the enemies after I died. So yeah, I had to play very carefully to find a way to recover some health. But yeah, there's no indication that you're about to get impaled by a standard Unity spear asset. Right up until it caresses the underside of your character's hitbox. It is a little frustrating at times. Your character is swinging a mop, that's part of the haha funny. But there's no sloshing sounds. You're carving, your enemies into a mushy pulp with the broom, or a mop in this case, and it doesn't make sloshy sounds. That's disappointing. Eh?
Like seriously, I mean, what is a dry mop if not a broom?
Yeah, technically.
I don't know, man. You try sweeping with a dry mop. Let me know how that is.
It's probably a little too floppy, but yeah, it is some kind of implement with bristles, and it doesn't make sloshy sounds after you clobber so many things to death with it. That was disappointing. The hitboxes are also a little on the random side, we shall say. You can hit some enemies without your attack's visual effect actually clipping their model, but others you need to be pretty much dead on in order to hit them. And some of the enemies can also damage you without actually touching you, so there's that. I'm usually the one that's the most easily amused when it comes to funny games, but this one didn't do it for me. I found myself going kind of meh on the puns and the jokes. So it's a fully functional Metroidvania, but that's all it is. 2 chairs. How about you, Jordan?
On Fedora 3764-bit with the R9 3900X and the GTX 1080 Ti. Yeah, it launches out of the box, holds 60 at 1080p and UHD. Hey, I plugged in my DualShock 4 controller and correct button prompts. That's always fun. Oh, Pedro got trapped in between dimensions.
I got literally pushed into the floor.
Into another dimension. You gotta watch the video versions of this, people, if you're watching the audio version, especially for the Chairquisition. Controls are decently responsive, no real issues there, and there's some generic fantasy noodling and some good old-fashioned gibberish voice acting. All the other graphics are just kind of serviceable. Yeah. Fun-wise, it's just kind of meh. There's really nothing wrong with the gameplay, it's just some basic Metroidvania stuff. You get some quests, bop some monsters, try to advance until you can't, and then start backtracking, try and fill out the maps. Your hurt, as Pedro mentioned, your hurt box is pretty long. It's well outside your actual sprite, so fighting enemies is pretty easy. You just kind of stand in their general direction and wiggle your broom at them, and they'll eventually die. Fast travel thing costing money, it's a bit of a nuisance. Grinding gold isn't too bad, but it's still like, oh, in the back of your mind, it's like, oh, well, I gotta get back over here. Do I want to spend the money? Do I want to save it for an upgrade? I felt that it could be done maybe a little better. It's got a Hollow Knight, speaking of which, you got a Hollow Knight upgrade system where you can unlock slots and then fill them with the various upgrades. I unlocked my wife's pants, and it made me do more damage. So that's the thing. Also, you got to find the map on a given level, then you unlock the whole thing. Ven didn't like that. He's going to talk more about that, but this means that if you want to actually, if you don't find the map right away, you got to scrape until you find it. Otherwise, you have some specific goals you need to hit in maps, and if you don't know where they are, you might get a little lost. It's a bit of a pain in the ass. I would like some way to just map as you go, or break it up in smaller chunks, or have some at least better idea, provide some general idea of where the goals are, so that I'm not wandering around wasting my time trying to think if I'm doing the right thing. The save point placement, it's far enough apart that you actually have to explore the map before you can save your progress. Sometimes they throw you a bone and it's right in the new area. Sometimes you got to go all the way to the end of the area before you can hit a save. It's okay. The writing isn't the worst, but it does suffer from quite a bit of clever writing-itis. Yeah, it's going to be hit or miss. For me, it was miss. And after about 1.25 hours, didn't really click with me. It's just kind of meh. Nothing really special popping out, and it didn't really do much to ingratiate itself to me. I'll give it 2 cheers.
All right, 2 cheers from Fedora Land. Let's talk about it over here on Debian testing. Threadripper 1920X, 32 gigajoules of RAM, NVIDIA 3060. You might have guessed it does pretty good job of rendering this bad boy, this graphical juggernaut. Safe to say everything works. Almost. The game's locked at 60, no matter how hard I hit disable VSync. It's like, I can do 60. I'm like, can you do 59? Nay. Can you do 61? Get out of here. All right. That's fine. I wanted to run at 60 anyway. Xbox One XS logical layout for a platformer. No problem. Right out of the gate. Also, Steam, whatever you did to the beta client, now I can cut my controllers on after I start a game again. I'm so happy. The music, standard medieval jam. The monster death noises, they kind of sound like they went around for everyone involved on the team and said, go blah, 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 into the microphone. Because every time you kill something, it makes a different version of and it sounds poorly recorded. I like it. It makes me quite happy. Pleases me just a little bit. But let's talk about, is this guy fun? Is Clunky Hero fun? Well, it's not fun. How about that? I mean, it is a generic platformer 11,000. It is. And now granted, it's only the 374th medieval platformer and the 213th medieval platformer with comedic overtones. But it's still just a platformer. And being just a platformer, you got to do something to sell it. You got to jazz it up a little bit, And they decided to try to sell this with the art and the writing. That fourth wall breaking dialogue, as Jordan kind of touched on, it's a wee on the nope side of cringe. But it has its occasional moments. They're just kind of few and far between. You see what they're going for, they just don't necessarily land it. But we do have to talk about the art. What the actual fuck's going on with these? I felt this is the most jarring in recent memory, because you look at the 2D background art in this game. Give it a look. Do yourself a favor if you're listening to the audio. Go pull the video version up and look at it, because it looks the business. Like when you kill the big ginormous death beaver. Look at the skeleton in the background. Look at the trees. Look at the forestry. That is. But what intern was in charge of the 3D assets? Now, your buck-tagonist, he looks all right. He looks okay. But the baddies, well, I dare say this. If I said all of the bad guys, the frogs that you're seeing right now as one of them, came from the 99-cent or less section of the Unity asset store, would you argue with me? I don't think you would. I think you would when you saw your frog and your high bear with pens. Okay.
Those were made by different people.
Giant bouncy Easter Island type head thing that doesn't fit with the medieval theme at all. Just all right, Sure, we'll take one of those too, man. It's on sale. At the end of the day, what do we have? We got this Metroidvania platformer where you have to go into the inventory to unlock collected area maps. To which I'll ask you, everyone involved in this game, what damaged human being decided this was a good use of my time? Because it's not. Platformers, this is mean. How many times did I walk over a map only to discover much later on, oh, right, I've had the map the whole time. Dun, dun, dun. And I just had to go in and activate it. I was not very pleased about that. But anyway, 80 plus minutes in Clunky, and I'm just done platforming because that's all there really is to do here. Like, the story doesn't really grip you. Like, oh, no, your wife's been turned into a influencer type person, and
kidnapping victim.
Right.
With the duck face and everything.
With the duck face, right? And this is horrible, and you gotta cure that. But
you gotta fight some Canadians too.
Yeah, that's maple leaves, man. And yeah, right, there's lumberjacks in here. There's a bunch of Starbucks baristas.
The hipster lumberjacks. Mm-hmm. That one I thought, okay, all right. I see what you're doing.
Let me wrap this up. We'll save it for the end here. Here's the thing. At the end of the day, you got to give me that little something extra. You got to do something a little more in platforming. That's what Hollow Knight manages to pull off. I'm dragging Hollow Knight out again. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Because Hollow Knight did it with the atmosphere. Hollow Knight did it with the hyper tight controls, even on Unity. Hollow Knight did it with that overall mysterious world full of bugs. What? Okay, shit. Let me go explore this. And doubly so with a Hollow Knight comparison, because it was a super small team, Team Cherry, independently funded. And most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, it's because you've also decided to price this at $14.99, which is exactly the price of one Hollow Knight. So at the end of the day, just bog standard platformer. You can see the aspirations. There are attempts. You can see somebody found out a way to keyframe gamma and saturation in Unity. But at the end of the day, best I can do is the two chairs. Now, on to our final thoughts, and we got to talk about our Canadian baristas at Starbucks.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I cannot, for the life of me, especially when you come across the wandering NPCs, tell the difference between the enemies and the good guys. Because sometimes you'll be like, oh, this is just some dude, I'm going to go talk to him. And then he hits you with an axe, and you're like, what the fuck? Yeah. And then sometimes there's little...
I just start wailing on it. And if I can't wail on it...
Yeah, at that point. And then there was a goblin. I started wailing on it, and it's nothing's happening. Oh, you're a person.
You're talking about the spinny one.
Yeah, you're a person I should talk to. Okay. Yeah, some clearer distinction between what is an enemy and what isn't would be kind of nice.
Friend? Nope, I guess not. Yeah, I don't know what. Again, I will go. I'm looking at Pedro's video right now. The 2D background art and level art, all that's amazeballs, man. It's just it's in your protagonist, a couple of the characters, but the most of it. Maybe it gets better looking, but right out of the gate, they just look bad. The baddies look disjointed. The straight up hipster. Hello, we get it. Maybe dial it back. Save some of that for a little bit later on in the game.
Yeah, I like when a game doesn't take itself terribly seriously. I do. And like I mentioned, I'm usually the one that's the most easily amused. I am a simple person. You make something that genuinely makes me go, aha, funny. And you get a bonus chair because I like it that much. But not this one. There's the beaver.
Damn anti-Canadian bias. All right. Well, coming up next, I have to put on my glasses because I got an I got to address with my own actually.
It's the end. We made it through. You made it through. If you're still listening to us at this point, kudos. You you deserve some kind of award, medal, something.
That's an award medal.
A participation
or
trophy.
An award medal. Yes.
Award medal.
You participated.
How dare you?
You can make one for yourself and take a picture and send us the picture. How's that?
No.
3D print it. We'll put up a stencil file.
There you go.
It's just a penis.
Chances are we did something or said something during the show that probably you took issue with. That's okay. We get that a lot. But please go to linuxgamecast.com, hit the contact button. There's a form you gotta fill. Don't include URLs. You're not gonna get through. It's stated in the little caveats.
I really
at the top.
should check our spam golem.
It's been a while.
It's been a couple of months.
Been a while.
It has, people. Fair warning.
Yeah, no, the caveats are there for a reason. So if you do not follow the caveats and your thing doesn't get through to us, you only get yourself to blame. We warned you.
You know what? You know what? Maybe we should do a spamtastic special and just like take a hate mail
just go through all the spam.
Yeah, just take a look and talk some shit. That might be fun.
We could do that. We might do a spamtastic thing next week. We'll put it up for patrons or something like that.
All right.
Yeah.
Because, I have all of that. It's organized. I have a system that I pay for from Clean Talk, of all people. And they take care of our spam. So, what was it? Like maybe 2-3 weeks ago? Yesterday, 5 minutes from now, 3 seconds in the future.
Yeah.
We were talking about RPGs. And what does RPG mean to us individually as people? And our thoughts and feelings on, RPGs as a whole, especially, JRPGs.
Jim's rocket-propelled grenades?
Yes. Jim at Guitar Center is fierce.
He's got image manipulation, he's got explosives, this guy's got it all.
Yeah.
He shoots at you, you just hear, I see you've heard of my friend Jim.
Jim PG.
No joke. 100% not making this up. Bradley writes in.
The other Bradley. Jordan, RPG was rocket-propelled grenade before it was a role-playing game. You're the ignorant one in this instance. Sorry, everyone's life doesn't revolve around gaming.
So, okay, so let me just impress the importance of actually letting people finish the sentence before running in to write YouTube comments. That's not exactly what I said. That's not what I said at all. So, from Wikipedia, this is already. I'm gonna put on my actually glasses. The explanation. Yeah, thank you, Ben. The explanation is gonna be a little dubious because this is coming from the Wikipedia article for rocket-propelled grenade. But the term rocket-propelled grenade is a backronym from the Russian acronym Ruchnoye Protivotankovy Granametiot, which means handheld anti-tank grenade launcher. The RPG, keep going, Ben. I'm keep moving. Otherwise known as the RPG-4, which was a anti-tank grenade that was used by the Russians in World War II. So, despite the fact that the modern usage is mostly rocket-propelled grenade, and while it is an accurate description whose initials happen to match, it's not what the R actually stands for. It stands for Russia! But fuck those guys, so you can call it whatever you want.
Yeah, seriously, fuck those guys.
But look, but it is that is the modern parlance rocket propelled grenade, but that is not what the acronym RPG actually stands for. It is that Russian word, Russian term, Ruchnoye Protivotankovy Granametiot. I fucking butchered it. I'm sorry to my very Ukrainian wife who spent like 10 minutes trying to coach me through the pronunciation of it. I failed, but I'm right.
So it stands for a rocket-propelled grenade.
No, it stands for handheld anti-tank grenade launcher.
It's a backronym. It was. Yeah.
What type of hipster bullshit are we talking about?
This is absolutely 100% military history pedantism. But the RPG, the R in RPG does not stand for rocket. It stands for Ruchnoye.
Actually,
it stands for Ruchnoye.
Actually,
first off, Japan invented RPGs.
Yeah,
with the Final Fantasies.
Oh yeah,
that was supposed to have been the death knell of Squaresoft.
Yeah, that was his final game. Lo and behold.
I don't know. Man, RPG Origins is not giving me shit, Google. I'm going to go ask Bing.
Yeah. So this came up in like a couple years ago in like a gaming forum, and there you go. RPG Origin Award. Thank you, Google. Wikipedia.
I see source. You've edited Wiki before the show, Jordan.
Yes, absolutely. But yes, Ruchnoye Protivotankovy.
Oh, you're going for it again.
Yeah. No, you know what? I give up. Fuck it. You know what? It stands for role-playing game. Anytime you see someone in the military firing that thing at a helicopter, they're just shooting a Dungeons and Dragons textbook at them. That's
100%.
1979. I've seen. Yeah, it seems a little bit.
Initialism, acronym for role-playing game. See roleplay, initialism, rock, paper, grenade by 1970. What? All right.
Yeah, 1970. There you go. A whole 9 years.
Yep. But it's a Russian acronym, not an English one.
Okay. Yeah. I thought I was pedantic, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
Oh, I look forward to next week. It is like I was only referencing the English language. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, part of me is expecting this to like snowball into some much larger debate that takes over the course of weeks that I'm really not interested in having. But you know who is? Putin. Go talk to him.
Yeah, the Bradley v. Jordan feud shall continue on next week's Linux Gamecast. Maybe. Probably. Who knows?
Not at all. Thank you for writing in. We always look forward to your feedback. It helps make this segment quite literally. So send it in. Leave a comment. Leave a Patreon post. Anything you get. Hit us on social medias, but we'll tell you more about that in just a second because we got to cue that music. You can always find this nonsense pulling out of the station around 9:30 Eastern Standard Moon Time. Nope, 8:30 Eastern Standard. Nope, 7:30 Eastern Standard Moon Time. That's right. All the time zones in covered. What time is that in Fiji, Pedro Mateus?
That's so it's 1:30 a.m. here, so it's 1:30 p.m. in Fiji.
GMT plus 12, baby. Gets shit
fucking
done.
Easy mode, man.
Oh.
It's like those people who are born in 2000. How old are you?
Oh, it's like,
2000.
Hey, man, it's like, I knew you were over 21. Why? Because I saw the 1 on your birthday.
Yeah.
Checking your ID. Like, ooh. You can get a hold of me. I'm just at Vin Stone on Twitter and Vin at mass.linksteamcast.com.
I am the most portable anti-tank handheld weapon. You can lob me at whatever ordnance you want on Twitter at Burning Fool or Mastodon, Frojo at mass.linuxgamecast.com. That's a fucking mouthful, isn't it? Ugh.
It's perfectly doable sometimes, but you don't necessarily have to put me in your mouth.
You should, though.
We'll just leave it at that. You can find me at unaccounted for on Twitter, or if you want to, it's at unaccounted for with the actual number 4 at the end on mass.linuxgamecast.com.
I was going to be like, Papa Pedro, everybody, because Pedro could be an illicit term for an illicit drug, but then I'm like, nah, it's probably just like, I don't know, anal wart cream or something. Anyway, here's some credits.
Pedro is definitely someone who transports illicit drugs. Got to thank our advisors, Omega, Sinar Theron. We got to thank our executive producers. They are Barb Bramp, Scott Machad, Tomacast, Mike G, Mike T, Drummer, Kaku, George Pebble, Tomaj, Hakim, and David.
And Chicago kicks butt, super that's dope. Thank you very much. And to see Monsters, Renault, Rider X Machina, Trudgy, Veritanuda, Justin Frostclaw, Nubbin, Darkwing, System T, Dancing Joe, I should have taken a longer breath, Ogie1, and Kyrillo.
You gotta breathe from the bottom of your toes, man. Nova K, Basil, Chad, Romero, Marcin, Renee, Leonardo, Di, Kim, Smashley, Chris, Stephen, Jill, Doom 2 Watt, Stephen, Dirty Dean, Back Gamatron, Zinthorns, Gaming, Rogues, Turnover, Cheesy Bacon, M Foxdog, Oil of Hope, Charlotte, Alex, and Aromatic Dev.
And don't forget Benjamin and Svein.
I just might.
What about the people on the fuck wall? The glowing pedestal behind you.
I didn't even get to
the
this.
RGB fuckos.
I don't know, man. Hey, man, the find upstanding cannibal wall is kind of interesting because I think one of the G's, one of the RGB strips is getting a little dicey.
Is this just R&B now? Some smooth, easy listening?
No, it's like, it's a little seasy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, a little Blakey? All right.
This is when it gets to the color green.
So it's RCGs?
Yes. Data for everyone.
Intermittent
We'll see you
Gs.
next week.
Bye-bye. 5 dudes.